What's up?
I am JP.
He is confused. And I am Ryan. What's going on, guys? We're going to start this very special episode by saying Happy Thanksgiving. Hope you guys are just winding down from a badass day of turkey, all the fun, whatever things you're eating, and surrounded by the ones you love. All that fun. We're gonna ruin that a little bit, though, because we're going to talk about a good old-fashioned
Thanksgiving movie.
horror Thanksgiving movie.
And
I said horror, just to be clear.
we did not watch my favorite Thanksgiving film, Thanksgiving.
I don't know that one.
You've never seen
No.
Thanksgiving? Wow.
I'm just diving into the Thanksgiving realm of movies.
I know what I'm bringing up next year.
Okay, we got to keep it fresh. So yeah,
Thanksgiving is a slasher horror film with a turkey that goes around killing people.
I've heard about it. I know of it. I think that's why I haven't watched
It
it.
is so good. It is so good.
That to me is the same as. Do you remember the movie Rubber?
Oh yeah.
Fucking
yeah.
tire going around killing people. Come on.
The opening scene in Thanksgiving, we'll get to the movie we did tonight here in a second. The opening scene of Thanksgiving is a turkey chasing a pilgrim woman through the woods. Her top rips off, so then she's topless and her boobs are just out, and the turkey looks at her, and he goes, "Nice tits," and then stabs her.
The turkey talks.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ. Glad we chose my movie.
So, so today, Ryan picked Eli Roth's Thanksgiving.
So if you're not familiar with director Eli Roth, just think of one movie, Hostel. That to me, if you haven't seen Hostel and you're a fan of horror, that was kind of one of those movies that made you reevaluate where you stood with horror, because he pushed a lot of different envelopes and a lot of different limits of what you could do in horror, and made people think twice. It's nothing, especially after some of the ones we're going to be covering in the near future, it's nothing anymore, but at the time it was magical. So Thanksgiving, to me, I was damn near impressed. And by the way, I chose this just hoping it was going to be good. I had no idea that I was actually going to like it, and I
So
did.
you didn't see this
This
prior?
is another first watch.
Oh, okay, because I went to the theater and watched this.
I held off. You told me this was good. I went to so I held off because I was waiting for this particular instance of seeing this and giving that first approach. And I was reluctant to watch it because I really hate Grey's Anatomy. I'm so sorry, ladies. I know I just pissed off a lot of ladies, but my wife is obsessed with McDreamy and McSteamy, and McDreamy is Patrick Dempsey, who is the main character in this movie. So,
See, I don't watch Grey's Anatomy, and when I think of Patrick Dempsey, I think of the nerdy kid that was an actor in the 80s and Can't Buy Me Love and films like that.
well, he grew up in a freaking doctor show to become McDreamy.
He also became the love interest in Scream 3 to Sidney Prescott.
And I am sad that I know this, but Enchanted. He's the guy in Enchanted as well.
It's funny, I actually seen that as well.
My daughters, my wife made me watch it the one year, and I found myself like laughing way too hard. Enjoyed it way too much as a good family movie. But I digress. We'll go back to Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving, we're going to kind of piggyback off of last episode. Last episode was Black Friday, and this is what this starts out based around. So there's a family that's pretty well known in the town. They own the big store to go shopping at for Black Friday every year, and the girl who is her father is the owner, but she invites her friends in ahead of these other lines, and they see it, and they're almost feeling taunted because these friends walked in and they're holding up stuff that they're getting ahead of this line, and you see people at their worst turning into just ravenous kind of horrible people. And then there's the one character who's videoing the whole thing while it transpires.
Yeah, and he uploads it to his social media, and
and mind you, all the store camera footage conveniently disappears. So this happens, but this kid's standing up on one of the checkout lines, and he's literally just panning around, and all this chaos, all this destruction, death. There's people getting killed, maimed because people are stampeding. It's insane. It's a good, like, fictionalized approach at the extent people will go to for these sales. And as we discussed before, retail life is it's definitely not too far fetched, because we've seen people in the news that have been hurt, stampeded to death, the whole bit. But yeah, this is all like probably the first 10 minutes that this all happens. So you're already kicking ass and already moving along in a good movie. But then it fast forwards a year. That's a year past all the events. Is it a year?
Yeah, it's the following year.
Yeah, it's following year. So the town's like debating, do we allow Black Friday to happen? Is Thanksgiving still a thing because of the events that happened last year? There's a lot of politics involved. The dad who owns the store, he's decided to try and play town favorite by trying to make donations, do everything he can to smooth this over. But this stuff like really, it really doesn't sit well with a lot of people. There's a lot of people who are trying to fight it. They don't want the store to be open. They don't think that the people that own the store should have any rights. They should be tried. Blah blah blah. And I'll shut up and let JP take a little stab at some of this because I'm just rambling.
Okay, so I'll get to my initial reactions. Yeah,
I was just talking about the movie. Yeah, I didn't even think about initial reactions. Yeah. My bad.
Yeah, you skipped right over me.
I will tell you this. I have a theory as to why you love this movie. Not love, but like.
I like it.
I have a great theory that you'll find out later.
Okay.
And so from there, go ahead.
Is it because of McDreamy?
Maybe, I don't know. That might be your cup of tea.
So I watched this movie when it originally came out, and I left this movie, and I even told you, I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. And I was a bit on the fence. I saw the trailer for this film, and I thought, this looks really good. I really kind of want to see this. But the one thing that put me off of this movie is Eli Roth.
Really?
I'm not an Eli Roth fan. Like, when I sit back and I think about all the films that he's done, I generally can't think of any of them that I actually really like.
You don't like Hostel?
I don't like Hostel. I think it's a movie he did to be as disgusting as he wanted to be, and that's all it is.
But I do feel that movie has, especially nowadays, with the human trafficking and all the shit that's going on.
I get it.
There's relevance.
There's relevance, but most of the things that he has done through his entire career, I have not been a fan of.
Okay.
And so I was really on the fence about this movie initially, but I was like, I went and watched it anyway because the trailer looked really good, and I was like, okay, it's actually a slasher horror film. And let's see how Eli Roth does a good slasher film. Maybe this can be good. And I think at the end of the day, for me, this is probably the best Eli Roth film that he's done. And that being said, though, I don't like previous Eli Roth films. So you kind of take that for what it is.
Looking up some other films of his as well, just because.
Well,
now I'm genuinely curious to go back here.
Yeah, you go back through his film list, and I dare you to come back. And
I don't even want to talk about fucking Borderlands.
I dare you to come back through and show and tell me any film that he's directed that you can say is an actual great movie.
I didn't mind Knock Knock. The Green Inferno was great.
Green Inferno's okay. Cabin Fever.
The TV show Hemlock Grove. You didn't like that?
It's okay, but is it great? No, it's not great. Cabin Fever. It's not great. Sorry.
I love Cabin Fever. The sequel sucked, but Cabin Fever was great.
It's okay. It's not great. Hostel. It's just disgusting for the sake of being disgusting.
Yeah, I disagree.
He ruined the Death Wish film.
I didn't see that.
And Hemlock Grove was something that had potential, but really, story-wise, it was horrible. Like, it just wasn't very coherent. The House with the Clock in the Walls, I did not like that film at all. Like, I don't know. I've never been a big fan of Eli Roth. Like, I just generally just, at best, I think most of his movies are just okay. I'm not saying they're horrible. I'm not saying I completely dislike all of them. I just think overall, most of his films come off as, okay, it's all right.
When I tell you why I think you like this film, you're gonna be like, oh shit, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. You might disagree completely, but it's just my vibe. But go ahead.
So, and I don't know if you know this or not. Ty Olsson, the guy that played the security guy in the film, he recently got engaged. Do you know who he got engaged to? DJ Qualls, or Quills, or however you say his name. The kid from The New Guy.
Wait, he's engaged to DJ Qualls?
Yeah.
DJ's gay?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, they got engaged this past year. They met and fell in love when they were on Supernatural together.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Never in my life would have expected that.
No, I was floored whenever that they released the news of that, and I was like, wow, good for them, you know. But yeah, I wasn't expecting either one of them to you know. So yeah.
Yeah, I did not know that.
A little bit of a media fact for you.
Interesting. And what's her face? Gina
Garrison.
Yeah. What else is she from? Click on her.
She has been in a
She's
number
been
of things.
A ton of stuff, but
Yeah.
like I definitely recognized her when she was dead in the pool of blood.
Yeah, she's in she's in Borderlands.
See, all right, listen.
And she's in an episode of Chucky. She's in an episode of this and that all through her career. I know this, but there's actually some films that I know there's at least one film that she was in.
I am the person who.
Oh, she was in Riverdale. She was Jughead's mom in Riverdale.
That's right.
She was in some movies when she was younger. She was in Z Nation.
I love that show.
There's something in particular that I'm picturing her in, and I'm not seeing it right away.
So, I am the person who somebody could tell me something's completely awful, or somebody could tell me something's completely amazing. Until I see the film myself, I don't usually trust opinions with films. However, it was I haven't heard one single person say something good about Borderlands or The Crow from this year. So those ones I have completely punted. I haven't watched them completely. I have no faith in Eli Roth with Borderlands, the video game franchise. He shouldn't have touched it.
Yeah, I've not watched Borderlands, and I really had no intentions of even watching it.
I love the video games. I absolutely love the video games. I don't want anything to do with this game. As soon as I saw Kevin Hart in it, I'm like, what is going on? Like,
yeah.
Why are we making Borderlands Jumanji?
Yeah, I had no desire to see Borderlands, so I don't know if I'll ever sit down and watch it unless on the podcast.
You have watched Leprechaun Back to the Hood multiple times, and you won't watch Borderlands once.
Again, Warwick Davis is a treasure.
Okay. I do love Warwick, but we got to try these things once so we figure it out. There's a lot of movies you've made me watch once that I wouldn't have chosen.
What I was saying, if you want to watch it for the podcast, I'll watch it. But if I'm going to watch it of my own free will, I'm probably not going to watch it. I will probably watch Leprechaun Back to the Hood instead.
That one I'll get. I feel like Borderlands was going to get me so over the top heated that we should definitely push it next year. So we'll talk about it next year. I'm going to be so pissed at that one. But
so John Carver.
What about John Carver?
What do you think about John Carver as a slasher icon?
Well, the original John Carver, I think he was a national treasure as well. But for this instance of the slasher, the mask routine is pretty genius, I feel, where everyone's dressed up as the slasher for Thanksgiving Day parade. They can't identify the exact person. There's lots of different things that happen with this. And by the way, let's go back to John Carver and give him a little context too. He essentially is somebody who was wronged by what happened at the Black Friday sale. He lost a loved one at this, and he's taking revenge on the people that he feels were responsible. primarily the family and the workers that were part of it that day.
And the kids that were part of the social media.
That's the family. Sorry, yeah. I'm including them in the family aspect because the daughter was the main person with that, and they were all her friends. So yeah, but John Carver, he's not playing around, dude. He's just going ham on these guys, and they really have no clue who he is. And as the events unfold, it starts getting a little clearer, but not until a particular moment in the film. So, but I won't get that far ahead yet.
So I love the character design. I love the little generic mask, the John Carver mask. I think it's really neat, and especially when he sets the mask on the stove and it melts, and so you have the half melted John Carver mask.
He had an array of different masks for every occasion.
I thought that was really, really cool. There was I love the special effects in this, the practical effects in this.
Practical effects, I feel, they've gotten so focused on green screen and effects that I think practical effects are going to make a big comeback, honestly. Because we look at that, look at Terrifier, you look at all these upcoming movies that are getting back to the basics with this stuff, and it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, the practical effects in this. And that was one thing I think going into this film that I was going to give Eli Roth. I knew that he was going to do practical effects. And it's one thing that I appreciate with him is he does do a lot of practical effects in a lot of his horror films.
Not just practical effects, but practical effects with like Thanksgiving Day focused food items, dining scenarios. I mean, I left this movie very happy.
The kills in this are very unique. He kills everybody different in this film.
With purpose, though.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why they were killed the way they were.
And it's I would give it to Eli Roth. This is the most original film I think he's ever done.
You heard it here first. No, fuck, I'm going to fuck up this statement.
You're going to give away why you think I like this film.
All right. We'll say it. We'll just jump right into this. This is the reason that I think you love this film. This movie, if you take the holiday theme out of it and you were to have a Jamie Kennedy character, is essentially Scream.
Oh no, it is 100%.
He completely stole that.
Yeah, no, this film this film is essentially Scream with John Carver instead of Ghostface. And Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yeah. That was the first thing I'm like, I even said it to my wife. Like, I go, I know why JP liked this movie because it is Scream.
Yeah.
So,
and I caught that. Yeah. I caught that. And it's actually one of the aspects that really took me out of it a little bit.
Fair.
Because I did feel like he tried to play the who's the killer card too much like Scream did, and I could have did without that. I could have did without knowing who John Carver actually was. I would have enjoyed this more had he kept that, not made that so much of a mystery as just said, fuck it, John Carver's John Carver. We're not even going to fucking tell you who he is.
So there's a plethora of other masks. I feel like they can do. I feel like if anything, he's gonna do a Scream scenario. They're gonna keep John Carver going, and it's a different person every time, different reasons.
He definitely could. I mean,
but no, to your point. I like when there's not always a happy ending, and when things go fucking wrong.
Yeah,
and just the way it is.
I would have been happier with this film because, like I said, it feels like Scream because it's like the whole movie. You're like, who's the killer? Who's the killer? Just like Scream. To me, if this movie had it ended with a building blowing up, which it does, kind of.
Okay, yeah.
With the building blowing up, you never unmask John Carver, and you think that that's the end of him, and the movie credits roll. I'd have been probably more happy with that ending. But that's not what the movie was. It was more Scream.
I don't think that they did this with the intention of sequels, though. It's the name of it. It basically, unless they just call it John Carver, then the name screams one shot. So I think that's the goal. So I think that's why they just got out what they could while they could.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think if you were looking longevity wise and you were trying to build and establish a franchise, That would have been a lot cooler.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would like that.
Yeah. But I don't think Eli Roth thinks longevity-wise. And he probably wasn't looking to do a sequel anyway. I could be wrong, but
I don't know. He did plenty of the Hostel stuff, so it's possible.
But did he direct all of them?
I think 1 and 2. I don't know if I think maybe he's producer on the others, but he didn't go anything further. And again, that was another like probably just studios trying to basically get a quick dollar out of it if they kept going with Hostel. So, I do want to point out again that this is another Plymouth, Massachusetts based movie for Thanksgiving, because they really try and take that Black Friday element to its origin of this town it was supposedly made in. So interesting there too.
Yeah, the past 2 movies, Massachusetts based.
Yep.
So
somebody pointed out that in the credits on last week's episode for Black Friday that they misspelled Massachusetts in there somewhere. There's a misspelling of it. That was interesting. So
one random trivia fact, and I thought this one was really fucking cool, so I wanted to actually make sure I read it. Eli Roth said the cat in the movie was such a good actor and performed on cue that he called him Leonardo DiCaprio.
Fuck all. If I was British, that would have sounded way cooler. Fuck all. That's great, but I hate it at the same time. It's so great.
Oh. But yeah, the kills in this though. What'd you think? One of my favorite scenes.
The turkey.
The basting of the woman and roasting her, and
she fought a valiant fight.
She fought. You
know what?
Yeah.
So the character of the stepmom, who's married to the guy who owns the franchise, the store or whatever. The stepmom comes off as a see you next Tuesday straight off the rip. Like, you just can't stand her. So like initially when she's taken and she's in John Carver's house, I was rooting for Carver. I'm like, get this bitch, kill her, please. I want this. She's gone. She's awful. She's a horrible human being. And then as she started surviving a little bit and started moving along and making it through each room and trying to hide from him and run, I found myself cheering for her for a minute. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And she's just about to escape. And then nope, Carver gets her. And not only does he get her, but she wakes up in the oven. And he's turning the oven on and she can't get out of there. And you guessed it, she becomes the turkey.
Yeah. And she gets fed to her husband.
So we'll talk about that too. So he wants all these people to suffer while watching each other. So he gets all these people, including a couple of the people he's already killed. They're all sitting around a Thanksgiving table setting. Brings the stepmother's body out without the head. Shaped. He literally has the legs up in the air and everything like a turkey. Starts carving her up. Feeds her to the husband. The boy who, and forgive me for not remembering all the characters here, the boy who recorded everything and uploaded it, he's basically making him live. That's another thing that was happening through this whole thing, is this guy is aware of how to mask IP addresses and how to hide things, and so he's literally doing everything he's doing live. He's streaming it live, and there's a following that are following this happening, and
they're commenting going, that looks so fake.
Yeah, people don't think it's real. And then when it's up on him, he's the one who uploaded it, when he's going through what he's going through, all the hearts and the smileys and the laughs and all the stuff going up, and you're like, wow, like, how does that reflect on society right now? Like, just so horrible. It's a great message to be delivered, because we're kind of in a very shitty time. So
people love violence.
I mean, they do, but
and they love to see people fail and fall.
I can agree to that on numerous fronts, but at the same time, like, to me, like, I guess I'm that weirdo who, like, if I knew something like that was happening in my town, like it was right on my doorstep, I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt. I'd be going to it. I'm the guy who'd run towards the fire. I just am. it's so to me, like when that was streaming in that moment, that's the thing that we all identify with movies. We find those moments that make us connected with them, and so in that moment I was like, what the fuck's wrong with people? Like, obviously it's a fake movie, but at the same time that also resonates because we know that people are that shallow in certain aspects. So
Yeah. Yep. And unfortunately, I mean, I've working in, like I was saying in the last episode, working in retail, especially when I was in store
for
management.
80 years.
For when I was in store management, I worked in a big retail store that I was in store management at, and particular store I was at, we had the bulk of the people in the town always ended up in the store, and that caused problems because there wasn't anything else around for them to go cause trouble at, so they would always come into our store. So I've had stabbings, I've had shootings, I've had fights constantly. I've had people go back to sporting goods, grab a ball bat, go back up front and beat somebody half to death with the ball bat, in the store. And it seems like every time any of this shit happened, I was always the manager there. And so I was always the one having to run to this shit. I had somebody get shot probably 75, maybe 100 feet in front of me in the store, and everybody's running this way, and just instinct, I'm running too, because I'm watching a guy collapse. And my initial instincts is I've got to run to this guy. I'm not even thinking about the guy with the gun. I'm thinking I got to help this guy that's just been shot. So I'm running that direction. So I don't know. A lot of people won't do that.
No,
and if they do, they're pulling their phones out to film it.
When I worked at a certain venue downtown years ago, it was during when a lot of the protests and riots were starting down there, and the people that were there to protest were there legitimately to peacefully protest. However, there were outside factors that were paying people to be what's called seeders. And these people would literally try and incite violence or issue any chance they could to make the other people look bad. And some of these things that would happen, like you would see a lot about a lot of people's character in those given moments. And so I remember at one point I was grabbing people that were sitting on the patio and throwing them inside of the venue's doors just to make sure everyone was safe. And a lot of other people were running towards the fight, not that worked there or that were anywhere affiliated with it, but just people that were on the street were running to get into the fight or video it. People with their phones is the biggest obnoxious thing because everyone wants that next world star or whatever you want to call it. They have their phones out ready to have that moment so they can get famous. They don't care about the outcome or the people. So, yeah, that's sad.
It's the world we live in.
It is. So, on this day of thanks, make sure you're being thankful, everyone, for not being a piece of shit. And we'll get back to the fun of the movie.
So he's eating his wife.
Best transition of CineNerds yet. I love that. Literally being forced to eat his wife. There's so many things happening at this table that are just insane on so many levels. But he wants to revel in it. He wants them all to be aware that he's pissed that he lost somebody he cared about. What was your favorite kill? Besides the turkey. The turkey.
Yeah,
like
the turkey is definitely my favorite kill. I don't know.
They're all pretty creative.
They're all pretty creative. The one. Well, really, honestly, one of my favorite scenes is just that whole parade scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just it honestly for me that's kind of
the spear going through the dude's face.
Yeah. That whole kill, but not only just the kill, it's like that whole scene is very tense with
that many people running around.
Many people run around and all the different John Carver masks, and then then there he is, and it's that whole scene's pretty intense.
And I like that all the John Carver masks going around, that's all they're looking for, and it's a clown. He's wearing a clown mask in this juncture.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was pretty rad.
What was your favorite?
I was going to talk about that. I was actually going to talk about this parade sequence because I just that when the truck stopped and that thing slid through right through the dude's head, I was like it just jaw dropping moment for me. I did like the kind of scare factor when the woman was in the bag in the fridge and the stepmom was she was trying to figure out what's going on. She's going around. She opens that, and then all of a sudden she moves and screams, like, please help me, please help me. And she closes the fridge back on her, like, I'll come back.
Yeah.
No, you won't.
Yeah. There's just a lot of creative kills. I mean, the only one I wasn't... My only issue with this film, really, with some of the kills is some of the parts that are just Eli Roth trying to be disgusting just to be disgusting. And it's not that they bother me. It's just I almost think why,
Because, like, for instance, like your shirt, Sleepaway Camp. Like, so there's over the top gore in certain elements of that, and that stuff influenced people like him.
But there's a difference between gore and just trying to be disgusting, I guess. With the girl ripping the girl's scalp ripping off. We didn't need that.
You like Terrifier, and you're saying these things?
You know what? There's a difference between your scalp being ripped off and your whole head being smashed in.
Is there when it's
there
all fake?
is.
It's fake death.
Well,
I don't know. It's.
I don't know.
Like, if we were talking about like faces of death and it was real deaths happening, then I'd be like, oh fuck yeah, no, that's too much. It's fucking. But
I don't know. There's a difference for me. There's a difference between if you're pulling somebody's fingernails out or just chopping their head off. To me, pulling somebody's fingernails out is way more disgusting than just chopping their head off. Or am I just fucked up?
I mean, there's so many different approaches on that one.
I'm asking you guys. You comment. Do you think the way I'm thinking? If some of the little things that are just disgusting to be disgusting is way more vile and disgusting versus just a head exploding or a head being cut off or an arm being cut off or,
So I do think that there is a line to be drawn in the sand with certain aspects of gore, meaning what is the motivation for the killer when they're about to kill someone, and there's also context as far as, like I think we'll touch on this next week too with the other episode, but is the victim a kid? Like that, those things can sit and resonate wrong. But outside of that, if it's a full-grown ass adult, and I think at this day and age, like, there's not much that is off the table. So I'm not too stressed about it as long as we're not talking about faces of death or kid scenario. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you can throw out there, and let's see what, like, some of the stuff in next week's episode. And I'm just talking a little bit about this because for reference, but some of the stuff in next week's episode, like, I can't believe some of the shit that was in that, but it still was good.
Yeah, no, it was great. We'll get there when we get there. Yeah. But but to me, that's a different type of extreme versus I don't know. I think for me, I don't know. There's something about Eli Roth's disgusting things that he does to be subtly disgusting that I find just disgusting.
Okay.
And versus Terrifier, where you see a girl get sawed in half from, the crotch down. That doesn't, that's like, okay, it's so ridiculous that it's like, it doesn't matter. It's not disgusting.
I think
I must be fucked up and weird.
Yeah. So in certain moments like that, those are those moments where I've like, clearly I am convinced that we are desensitized. And so we have different limits than most. But I'm, like I said, if it's fictionalized gore, I'm going to be good in any front as long as there's not kiddos involved. But outside of that, it's what it is. Let's see what you got. Throw it at me.
So the plot to this, we get to the end and
surprise,
McDreamy,
you motherfucker.
the whole time. It was the most famous actor in the film is the killer, John Carver. Patrick Dempsey.
Mr. McDreamy. So I told my wife also, a huge fan of Scream franchise, huge fan of that, and she's also a big fan of Grey's Anatomy and McDreamy. So I told her, I'm like, you have to watch this. You're going to love it. 'Cause she didn't see it with me. I just told her about the fact that it was like a Scream movie. So, yeah.
Has she watched it yet, or she still?
She hasn't. I think so. We've got like 25 people coming over our house on this day to you guys, but a couple weeks ahead for us now because we're pre-recording. But I've got like 25 people coming to the house, so it's gonna be probably on the TV in some capacity at some point in the day. Usually when the kids gravitate upstairs and the adults leave, and it's just me and my older kids that are in their 20s. That's when we check out our horror films.
Alrighty.
So, box office.
Do you have the box office?
I do.
You do?
I do. What do you think what do you think the budget was?
Oh, I have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, 15 million, obviously we had for the budget.
Yep.
And then I did worldwide gross.
Yeah, I just got total.
So 46.5 mil.
Yeah.
So not a bad I consider that a complete win, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no. Eli made money on this, and people were excited about this film because this film was already in a trailer 15 years prior, and people wanted it because this film was originally made. He had originally made a trailer for the Grindhouse films, and this was a fake trailer for the Grindhouse films, and he's just now actually made it a movie. So people were excited about this, especially fans of Grindhouse.
I think that, I think last week we were talking about Black Friday, how it kind of got the shit end of the stick with it trying to come out during the pandemic. This one's one of the ones that's a positive success story for when it did come out. It came out post-pandemic. And I think that 2023 was, in entertainment world, was kind of a banner year across the board for music, movies, everything. We're seeing a lot of that dip off now, but I work in the concert industry, and we saw record ticket sales last year. Same with theaters. People were just excited to get back out and to go be normal human beings again. So movies like this mattered. So yeah.
Yeah, 2023 had a lot of success stories in film. And, through 2020, 21, and even into 2022, I think film studios were questioning, and I remember reading articles: is theaters even going to make are they even going to be able to bounce back? A lot of the people doing the analytics on this were saying no, that theaters are done and films are just going to be going straight to digital. 2023, I think you've seen a lot of films prove wrong on that.
Not only prove wrong, but I think you saw the flip side of that where, all the actors that are in these movies, they get paid on royalties based on these films. So when they were going straight to digital, they weren't getting the royalties and the payout that they had normally gotten. And so a lot of them were pretty upset about that. And you saw things happening more so like the strike. You saw all these different things that were a result of some of these things. So, and I think that strike, if I remember correctly, also had to do with some reassurances and feeling better about if we were in another pandemic scenario.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. So, yeah, in 2024 has been a good year. I don't think it's been a bad year for films. I think some films have suffered, from lack of people going to the theater. But I think this year has been inflation. I think people don't have the money this year compared to a year ago.
For sure. Sure.
I know I don't, personally,
Yeah. Definitely don't either. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hopefully, there's an uptick and a resurgence, and you'll see a lot more theaters coming around.
I hope so. And I hope financially people can get out and get to the theater because I know I want to be able to. So I miss going to the theater that much, and I've unfortunately I've been to the theater quite a bit this year, but not as much as I normally do. And I hadn't even got to go to the drive-in theater this summer, but a lot of that's been because I've been touring so hard this past summer.
I only have one drive-in theater that's up by me, and maybe it's the same one you're talking about.
No, I've got 3 or 4 around me.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I've only got one that's up by me, and there is a constant train track behind it. And
I know.
It drives me insane.
When I lived in Lakewood, that's one I went to up there.
I would get so pissed. No, you're thinking the one that used to be off Ridge Road. That one's gone.
The
Is that-
Autorama?
There's two of those, but one was off Ridge Road that was right in that bend. That one was fine. That one I can deal with. That one was always okay. But there's one that's a little bit further, maybe like Strongsville area, something like that. Maybe
Okay.
somewhere in there. And I've gone there a few times. I just don't remember the exact location. All I know is there's literally a train track directly behind the screen.
Yeah, no, I've got 3 or 4 right here around me, and all of them's pretty good. And
Okay.
they're kind of tucked in the woods, and so it's nice. So if you ever want to come down,
Is there any solid double features? Or
oh,
anything like that? Let me know.
they've always got some good ones. It's just I've wanted to go this summer, and it's been like every time I've wanted to go, I've had to work the next day, and I have to be up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So it's like I can't be at the theater until 1 or 2 o'clock at night.
There's a few I wanted to go to the theater for in a big way, but the only one I made it a point to go to was Alien Romulus, and I couldn't have been happier about it. So I was happy I did that one.
And I did that one.
Yeah,
I did end up doing that one in the theater.
That was a lovely one.
All right, so ratings. I guess I go first.
Yep.
So again, I'm not an Eli Roth fan, so I went into this film with high hopes but zero expectations. Because I'm just like I've been saying, I think the majority of his movies are just okay, but I was very interested in seeing him actually do a slasher horror film. That being said, I left after watching this, and I even had talked to Ryan and told him like this movie's pretty fucking good, and I think this is the best Eli Roth film, in my opinion. I really like this film. I do hate some of the scenes that he's making fun of me for saying I think are a little too disgusting. I hate the fact of it does feel like a Eli Roth's version of Scream. I feel like if he would have done away with more of that mystery aspect of this film and just went to a straightforward slasher film, this would have been a better film. But overall, I really like this film a lot, and it's not dead middle, but it's in that middle ground, more mid ground movie for me. So I'm going to put it at a 3.4.
Okay. That's not horrible.
No.
That's a good rating. So I'm going higher than that, though.
I figured.
Yeah, I genuinely enjoyed this movie. Let's be honest. Like, slasher and horror films lately are not what they used to be.
No, but they've made a resurgence.
They have, for sure. But I will say there was definitely a long withstanding dry spell that was painful, to say the least. And so when we're coming out of said dry spell into recent resurgences, this one definitely was a solid play for me. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was going to be cheesy. I thought it was going to be just an awful grab at Thanksgiving, like there was some like a talking turkey running around with somebody, killing some woman without her top on.
Don't knock it till you've seen it.
Well, I guess we'll find out next year. But all of that said, I like the kills in this. I like the delivery. I like the reasoning behind it. I'm not put off by the fact that he basically stole from Wes Craven, and it is essentially the Thanksgiving version of Scream. But all that said, let's go with I'm gonna go 4 nerds from me, flat. I definitely enjoyed this one. I'll be adding it to the top 20 slasher list.
Cool. And I'm the one that drove you to it, even though you were the one that picked it.
I did, but it was based off because I was debating. That's one of those ones that sat in the queue for a while. I'm like, should I, shouldn't I? And when you and I talked about it, you were like, definitely check it out. It's not bad. Yeah. So, and he doesn't say that too often. So I usually will check those out. So.
All righty.
Cool. 3cinenerds@gmail.com. You know the drill. Send us any of those messages, inquiries, any questions you have, and we're happy to answer those back to you. Or you can message us on Facebook too. And on Facebook, in our bio, check out our link tree for the Audible options for you, and also for our merch link, so that you guys can get some swag. But more than anything, I hope today was awesome. Hope you're surrounded by loved ones and all that fun. Happy Thanksgiving.
give us a share, give us a like, give us a subscribe, write a review. Go to our Facebook page, write a review. Go to our Apple Podcast, write a review. Go to our Facebook page and invite your friends. You can click on the little dots. It'll scroll down. It says invite friends, and you can go through your own little friends list and just invite everybody. So go in there and do that.
If you listen really closely, every invite you hit, it'll go, CineNerds, nerds, nerds, nerds.
Nerds, 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 nerds.
All right, guys. Well, I hope your holiday is magical, and we'll see you next week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.